Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the second annual Michigan Virtual EdTech Pitch Contest. We're excited that you've joined us this afternoon to see our 5 finalists share their ideas for improving education through innovative uses of technology. So welcome, and we'll get right into it. If you're not familiar with Michigan Virtual, we're a nonprofit that partners with schools, educators, and families across Michigan to advance both learning and teaching. And we do this through research, practice, and partnership. This year, we're celebrating our 25th anniversary as a leader in online learning, and we're excited to be catalyzing new innovations in education through today's pitch contest, our upcoming innovation boot camp, and other programs and activities that we hope will set the foundation for our next 25 years of impact in Michigan. Today's event is a collaborative effort, and I have to thank Spartan Innovations from the MSU Research Foundation, the Michigan Small Business Development Corporation, or the SBDC, and the Burgess Institute for Entrepreneurship and Innovation at Michigan State. They've been wonderful partners to Michigan Virtual in making this event and last year's event possible, lending their time and their talents in the areas of innovation and entrepreneurship. So thank you to all our partners. And of course, the competition has to have prizes. And here's what's on the line today for the teams that are competing. None of these would be possible without the contributions and the generosity shown by Foster Swift, Michigan Creative, MEMIC, the Michigan Education Association Center for Leadership and Learning, Case Credit Union, Consumers Energy, and Learning Mate. So thank you to all of our generous sponsors. We appreciate your contributions, your partnership, and we can't wait to see the impact that these prizes will have on the teams that are competing today. And of course, the stars of the show are finalists. We're all shown here. These 5 finalists were selected from a pool of 18 written and video submissions that were received in mid-May, and they were selected as finalists in late May, and they've been honing their pitches ever since. And I've learned so much about all of them, all of the teams over the past 3 or 4 weeks of working with them. And I'm really tempted to share their stories and everything right now, but we're going to hold off because they're going to do that for us in just a few minutes. The preparation that each of these teams has done has been significant, and you're going to be blown away by what they share today. They've each met with multiple coaches on multiple occasions. They've gone through practice pitches. And I simply can't thank Melanie, Kim, Marquisia, and others for the time and the talent that they've provided to these teams. Also, much thanks due to the MSU Research Foundation team and the New Enterprise Forum out of Ann Arbor, who provided some volunteer judges for practice pitches that the teams went through as well. So you're going to see some very well-honed pitches and a lot of effort thanks to these coaches and all the teams for putting that effort in. So here we go. Teams, meet your judges. Sanjeev, Jamie, Paul, and Matt will be listening intently as you complete your 5-minute pitch. In that pitch, you're going to share the opportunity that you see, the solution that you'll provide, the impact that you can have on teaching and learning, your business model, and how you use the prize money. Then they'll have about 5 minutes to ask you some questions and get your responses. And then we'll run through all 5 teams in a row, back to back. And then the judges will go into a breakout room to deliberate for about 10 minutes. And they'll come back in and we'll be able to announce the winners in just about an hour from now. So with that, we're going to turn it over to the stars of our show. ULearn, Bipsy, Akinomi, Spelling Safari, and Spanish Swag. That's the random order that you were pulled to present today. So ULearn, Advit and David, you are up first. I will stop my sharing. And I invite you to share your screen. Once you have yours shared, I'll make sure that I have my timer ready to go. So bear with me as I find the timer app here. All right. All right, you should see the timer up in my window. I will start that as soon as the 2 of you start your pitch. So David and Advit, take it away.
One sec. So before we begin, are you able to hear David and I? Because David wasn't here for the sound.
Yep. Are you guys able to hear me?
Yes, perfectly.
Yes.
Yep.
All right.
All right, take it away, guys.
Hi, my name is Advait,
And I'm David.
and we are the co-founders of ULearn. We started ULearn to help other students not go through the same struggles and experiences we did with online learning.
64% of students find it difficult to focus when learning online. Similarly, professors also find it difficult to measure students' comprehension and keep them engaged. In short, online learning can be boring. So we ask ourselves, how can we make online learning engaging and easy for both the professor and the student?
And we answered it with ULearn. ULearn brings together the simplicity of YouTube, the structure of Khan Academy, and powers it with AI to provide a personalized academic experience to each student. It also allows the professor to track students' progress, understand their learning patterns, and provide them with personalized feedback.
Starting is simple. Educators just upload their course materials to our website. Our AI then processes them, allowing students to interact with an AI tutor through speech or text, personalize their learning experience with study tools, and go on an engaging learning journeys with AI-generated quizzes along the way.
Compared to ChatGPT, our AI tutor begins conversations with a question, encouraging students to talk about their thought process, fostering a two-way learning dialogue. Professors can also view the students' chat history, making ULearn effective in educational settings.
ULearn benefits professors by offering information about students' learning paths and comprehension levels. This helps them measure students' understandings, provide customized feedback, and adapt their teaching methods. For students, ULearn provides an engaging, personalized, and effective learning experience that is tailored to their individual pace.
We launched our beta on Twitter 50 days ago and have since received over 7,000 users and 20,000 views. It's not about just the numbers, though. We've also been constantly involved in the community to understand the students' experience. Students have told us how ULearn has helped them to better understand lecture videos. And professors are interested in the transparency and the insight they can gain into students' learning process.
Now, there are over 130,000 college professors and 8.6 million undergraduate students in the US. And 75% of students have taken at least one online course. Our customer is the professor, as they will decide whether to implement ULearn in their classroom, and students will be paying $25 per class on a tiered rate.
Our TAM is $1 billion. If we can capture just Michigan, our SAM is 15 million. And when we target just Michigan State, our SOM is $2 million. Initially, we will be focusing on lower-level computer science courses at MSU, since they are largely virtual.
We don't have many competitors in this technology because it's fairly recent. In terms of competition, none of the other platforms offer the unique combination of personalized learning paths, adaptive engaging tools, and academic-focused learning, and the use of any content type.
So why are we the right people for this? Well, we are students ourselves. We understand the challenges of online learning firsthand and have built ULearn to address these issues. Among us, I have grown a six-figure business. David has reached over 15 million people on TikTok and Instagram. And Achyut and Somi have been developing AI apps for as long as we can remember. Our advisors too bring experience from fields of venture capital, venture creation, and academia. Dr. Ghasemi has a PhD from MIT and has agreed to trial ULearn in his computer science class at Michigan State. It has 500 students, so we will begin there.
Now, the first thing we'll do if we win is talk to our customers. Then we will allocate funds for legal fees, product development, product testing, and marketing. Finally, we'll use the money to fine-tune an open source large language model for the educational sector. We believe that the synergy of our team, experienced advisors, and insights gained from our user base will help turn ULearn from a product into a business.
Feel free to sign up for a waitlist on our website and check out our beta app by scanning the QR code below. Thank you for your time and for allowing us this opportunity to share our vision for the future of learning.
All right, great jobs with 20 seconds to spare. Wonderful. All right, judges, what do you have for the ULearn team?
Scott, I've got a question. I'm curious to know how ULearn would interact with a learning management system.
So right now, we don't have direct access to D2L or Canvas, but by talking to the companies, we're able to call their platform and integrate our materials with them. So I believe that as we gain enough traction, we will have metrics to justify having access to the students' D2L and Canvas, and that would allow us to make the onboarding process much easier. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
I'm Paul Liebenau. I may have missed this, but do you currently have any capital investment in your startup?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mention that, but no, we have a zero capital investment. We did have some small hosting fees and we had to purchase some software for our product, but Paul and the Burgess Institute has been kind enough to provide us with that.
I have a quick question. I'm a professor, so I'm very interested with this, and good job presenting it. So my question is, you mentioned that professors will upload the material and then the AI will take over and create some questions, quizzes, and things like that. Am I right?
Yes.
So is this questions that you're talking about, these are for students to prepare for it, or are they going to be graded? You know, that's a professor's point of view. You know, how it is going to be graded. It should be controlled completely by the professor and not anything else. So do you have that thing in your mind and how you're going to communicate with the professor?
Yeah, just to rephrase your question, you would like to understand if the quizzes are graded. Is that correct?
Yeah, and how those quizzes and the professor's quiz, materials that we upload, also there are quizzes, exams, things like that, how they're going to interact.
Yeah, so we want to make sure that the control is in the professor's hands, because with a platform that's handling documents like past exams or past quizzes or educational materials, the teacher must be in the loop of what's happening. So that's why we don't allow the students to upload the materials. Right now, the quizzes are practice quizzes, but as we get more data, as we are more accurate with the questions, we can turn them into graded. But since we're still starting to develop and train our models, the quizzes may not be the quality that the professor expects. So we want to make sure that the professor is happy with that before we can move on to the graded part.
And adding on to that, once we train our models, we're able to help the professor make their quizzes, and we can automate that process for them much faster.
So just give you a feedback. One of your competitors will be the publishers. You know, they're also doing all of that nowadays, and they're helping professors to put everything together and to make it easy for the professors to create all of that. So they will be, you got to think that they will be also partially a competitor. I have a quick last question, is that 7,000 new users you mentioned, any of those are professors?
No professors yet, because from our perspective, we were just developing an app that would help us learn better, but it just blew up so fast that we didn't really get a chance to get professors onboarded. And then we realized that if this is helping students learn better so much, maybe the professors would also be interested in having the software and having more control over it. So that's how we went down the route of contacting other professors and asking for their opinion. And luckily, yeah, they have said that they would be interested. So it's very exciting.
Cool.
Hey, Advait, and then just to sneak another question here before the time limit, are your models taking into account things other than natural language processing, kind of dicing videos into sound bites and kind of generating questions from that, as kind of assuming what the underpinning of the model is? But, you know, are there open source, or are you planning to develop models that take into account different, maybe pedagogy is the right word, So like different types of questions rather than just parroting, yes, this is what I heard, inference type questions, building on understanding, demonstrating understanding versus just kind of repeating facts.
Yeah, so we're actually testing different LLM models right now. There's different models, but the main priority right now for us is to get the right data set and to use that to use RLHF so that it gives the right output.
Yeah, and adding on to that, we think that, yeah, the sound fluctuations and all could be incorporated and the right pedagogy can be used. Yeah, it's just a matter of understanding what do the professors want and what do the students want. And ChatGPT, as you've seen, it can creatively write a lot of things, but probably not a lot of them are related to the class or what the professor said. So we're able to identify those boundaries and identify the temperature, meaning the creativity that the model has, and we can prompt engineer it correctly in order to get that pedagogy out of it.
All right. Thank you, Advait and David, for sharing ULearn with us. You did a great job. You've set the bar high, which we expected, and we appreciate that. So next up is Bipsy, being presented by Lori. Lori's from the southwest corner of Michigan, the Stevensville Lakeshore area, if I'm not mistaken. And she'll get Bipsy shared with us here. Let me get my timer ready. Hit present mode there, Lori.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Take a big breath, and I'm ready when you are. So
Thank you. Student behaviors have significantly changed in the classroom. Here's how a teacher realized she could help with the Bipsy app. This is Lori. After 13 years as a principal, she returned to the classroom to teach. Prior to COVID, disruptive behaviors were noticeable. After COVID, Lori and her colleagues noticed even more of an increase in these behaviors. Teachers mentioned feeling overwhelmed, untrained, and unsupported to manage these behaviors. They didn't know how to create a BIP, which is a behavior improvement plan, or how to document the data that's required for additional help. Part of the problem was there were just so many behaviors to improve. Lori read the latest research and found out that this was actually a national issue. She wondered what support there was for teachers that needed help and found virtually nothing. And that's when she realized she could help. Hi, I'm Lori Kuntz. I'm the creator of the Bipsy app. Bipsy stands for Behavior Improvement Program Supporting Educators. Think of it as each teacher having their own personal behavior coach in their classroom at a click. It helps three ways. It builds independent responsibility for students with social, emotional, life, and behavior skills lessons, goal setting, and ownership for their actions. It leads teachers in a step-by-step plan to create a strong, supportive classroom culture with engaged students, and it guides teachers through the process of creating a BIP, data tracking, reports, and communicating weekly results to parents of students on BIPs. The potential is huge. There are 4 million teachers in the US and 800,000 substitute teachers that could benefit from Bipsy. According to the NEA, 94% of teachers surveyed want more behavioral and student support. 38% of new teachers leave the field within the first 5 years and list behaviors as one of the reasons they leave. We need to support teachers to keep them in the classroom. Our education system is in crisis, and teachers and students need help. We want to begin with teachers, connecting with them through various teacher associations, conferences, forums on social media, and email notification. We want this product to be valuable and invaluable for all it supports, teachers, students, and schools, and valuable for all it provides. A school district could be defined and recognized as a Bipsy school because of this support. They could support their teachers more by using Bipsy as a professional learning for teacher recertification. Districts have money directly for that purpose to use to purchase Bipsy app. A potential partner could be the U.S. Department of Education, PBIS, the Positive Behavior Intervention and Support Program. If Bipsy cost around $5 to $6 per member for an annual subscription, if just 1 in 16 teachers purchased the app, the revenue would be around $1.5 million each year. Once teachers have discovered and supported the use of the app, then we'll begin marketing to district administrators so they can support their teachers' desire for this product. We'd like to collect data and the feedback from the users of the app to help promote the app once it's out. There's nothing like Bipsy on the market currently. In comparison, the closest competitor, Pearson Review 360, costs $3 per student, or a minimum of $300 per school district. It offers some student goal setting, but does not include the Tier 1 classroom management component that Bipsy provides, and it does not teach the teachers the process of correcting and documenting behaviors. Our next steps include creating an app. I have created the basic prototype app, but I have made a connection with an app developer to begin the process of developing the app that requires coding, securing digital storage, and connecting with teachers to discover and use this product. Late fall 2023 is our timeline to release the prototype to Michigan teachers to use, provide feedback along with their agreement to promote the app on their social media. And by late spring of 2024, attend some national teacher conferences, provide some promotions for teachers to use, and agree to promote the app socially. How we'll use the $10,000 will complete the trademark for the app, confirm our digital data warehouse storage, and ready the prototype for fall distribution. As a team, we're all educators from the Berrien County, Michigan area, including myself and Megan Hines, who is a trauma-informed behavior specialist and has been an elementary counselor for over 20 years and is a fellow Lake Shore Public Schools member, and Tammy Clays, who is an occupational therapist for 23 years in occupational therapy, serving in Berrien Springs, Michigan. Let's help teachers. Let's help students. Let's Bipsy help. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Perfectly timed. Use every second as you're entitled to and should have. So that was awesome. Thank you so much, Lori. And judges, I'll turn it over to you for some questions or some feedback for Lori.
I have a question, Lori, and thanks for doing this work. It's of great interest to me personally and to our association. My question is, in terms of viability, at $3 per student, and I do work in this space, and a lot of calculations on costs and for storage maintenance, and then the cost of reporting back to teachers and parents. Have you done any preliminary costing for those features?
No.
Thank you.
The one thing I will add is that we know that we're going to keep the identity of the students. So it's just an initial or a number. So as far as protecting student information, that's one area that we know we'll address it in that way.
Thank you.
Lori, I'm just curious if you see this product having as much value for teachers at the elementary level as the secondary level. Do you really see it as a K-12 solution?
I do. One thing that we know is there are 2 million elementary teachers. And so that in itself is its own, but there are so many positions that are not filled that are now from substitute teachers who do not understand the management of students and how to engage. So I do foresee that secondary teachers will also need this assistance, especially new teachers just getting started. But what we always see in elementary school is what's going to rise to the next level. And if we're seeing it now, we know that it's coming for the secondary teachers too. And so it's a way for us to let teachers choose based on the grade level they teach. But really the foundational setup of classroom management engagement applies to everyone who's a teacher.
Thank you.
So Lori, and please forgive my lack of knowledge in the specific space, but I hear things like managing classroom behavior. I think about like individual education plans, which are becoming increasingly important, especially in the primary and middle school setting. How does your tool kind of feed data into an IEP type structure, and what are you specifically measuring? What are the key KPIs that you're looking to incorporate and measure?
Right. So the very first thing that when a teacher has a student that has some significant behaviors is that they have to document the data and have some replacement data at how the child has responded to that. And that is created into a report that then feeds into that tier 2 next level for specialists to come in. And it always ends up going back to the fact that the classroom teacher hasn't managed the classroom as strong. And that's why this child has this behavior issue in the classroom. But this actually forms it so it's in a data report so that the teacher can present that information. Here are the things that we've tried, and here's how the student has responded to that behavior. And so those reports actually are what would be tier 2 considered. And then if it needs to go to tier 3, where you have to provide even more information and replacements, then that would go into that special ed kind of meeting that you would read and need all those reports to it.
Hey, Lori, this is great. I think we do need a lot of, help in this regard. And I had 2 kids that went through schools, and I thought that schools can do a lot better job on that. And this can be done if it can be done properly. I think this is a very good. The only question I have is, you alluded to it. Who controls the data? And what is the security of the data? Have you thought about that? And also all the behavior in my school that I went to, that you cannot really report on all behavior, right?
Right.
Here, what you're going to be able to report and write about and keep, and what you cannot. Would you have those kind of restrictions, and who will control it? That's my question.
Yes. So the first tier is teacher-led whole group classroom as far as student engagement, building ownership of their own behaviors. We know that our children are at least 2 years behind in their social behaviors due to COVID and that inability to participate in social situations. And so they have to be retaught those expectations in the classroom. And so that's what the tier 1, where the classroom management builds that ownership of students to even recognize that they're not making the right choices, because many of them don't even realize that they're not. And so that's where the teacher will build all of that, and students will begin the ownership, which is what I do in the classroom, building ownership of what they need to improve. When it moves to level 2, that is specifically with that student and the parents. And that documentation remains just within those people. It would come in the form of an email that would have some of that information. And it would be printed just with letters or the student number, so that we're not worried about the data that may be, shown or displayed in any other way. As far as then the next level, tier 3, that's when the printout would occur with the report, where the teacher would just handwrite the student's name in.
Yeah.
All right, great. Yep, thank you, Lori. Thank you, judges. Wonderful pitch. Got applause from your co-presenters here.
Thank
A great job. All right, and that brings us to economy, which is not one of my favorite words to say. So if nothing else, thank you for introducing economy. It's a really cool word to say to me. So if we can get your screen share, Sharon and Zishin.
Can we do a brief mic check? Can everybody hear me well?
Yep, we can hear you. Sharon, how about yours?
Can everyone hear me?
Perfectly, yes.
Great.
All right. And I am ready when you are. So take a big breath, smile, and you're off.
Economy. Kids learn economy with autonomy.
Let's think about the impact that economy have on our daily lives, from prices we pay for goods and services to the way business operate in the government-made decision. Economics shape our world, yet the role of economics is often overlooked. Economic decision-making skills become more critical for everyone. And where do these skills take root? Right here in the classrooms. However, a gap exists as students are not learning enough economics. Now, how do we support them to gain real-world understanding and make economic decisions from elementary level? One challenge is that economics is seen as difficult and dry. Another is how we help them to learn decision-making, not just knowledge. The trick is to make economic fun without losing the learning focus. And that's where games come in. Not just any games, but serious gaming that blends learning with the play. And to help with decision-making, we need to bring the real-world economy, using simulation to place kids in a different roles within an interactive economy. And that's what exactly what Kinomi does. We're turning economy into an engaging and a gainful learning experience. So Kinomi is a role-play simulation game with a theme of international trade among different roles: producer, exporter, and importer. The complexity of a decision-making will progress as the grade progresses. Kinomi covers various economic contents that learn within those grades. Through Kinomi, the students can take on different perspectives through different roles and interact with their peers. Try new things and find solutions on complex open-ended problems. Become motivated by the game, the autonomy, and the rewards. Kinomi also breaks down complex economic challenges into digestible formats.
So how do we know it works? Because we showed Kinomi to a student, a teacher, and a parent, and they gave positive feedback. They find Kinomi helpful since it is interactive and experiential. This is the full view of our business model, but we're going to focus on some aspects. The first one is the customer and revenue stream. So we had a discussion with the president of Michigan Council on Economic Education, and he liked Kinomi and open to work on the following proven model after Kinomi being developed. So we'll over Kinomi to the Michigan Council and other state councils, and then they'll find foundations within their network to fund the subscriptions. And then they will distribute Kinomi to schools so that every student can gain free and equal access to Kinomi. In return, the foundations can brand themselves and create a story for their CSR. And we also plan to replicate this model in other states. And through MCEE, we'll also network with other state councils, and we'd also love to build relationships with MEMSPA because we believe that the principals within the MEMSPA network care about making innovations in their schools. And our vision is to reach the global market, but now we are starting from Michigan and the national market. Assuming that the subscription fee of $9 per learner per month, the Michigan market is expected to be $44.5 million and the national market is $1.8 billion. We're better than other products mainly because we address economic education while the others only focus on financial literacy. We also use authentic scenarios and promote intercultural communications among learners. Kinomi is made possible by Jushin Lee and Sharon Jessica. We are master student at University of Michigan with combined experience in EdTech, economics, and business. We are supported by a researcher in economic education at the School of Education to build the content, and faculty members with expertise in EdTech, as well as various schools and centers at the University of Michigan and individuals within relevant expertise. For the next step, we'll conduct deeper customer discovery, develop an MVP and a pilot in a school in Ann Arbor, and then we'll continuously improve the product, launch a statewide expansion, and a more aggressive plan targeting the national market. And we'd use the $10,000 for customer discovery, hiring game developers, website and cloud, user testing, marketing materials, and partnership.
Thank you for listening. Let's make Kinomi happen.
Great job. Thank you very much for sharing Kinomi with us. Judges?
So
what
I
do you
have a quick question. Just who are your users and who are your customers?
So our end user would be the students themselves, but it will be within classroom settings. That's why there will be like supervision from the teachers. But again, as our revenue model show, we will like sell this to councils on economic education in different states so that they can provide it freely for the schools.
So those councils are your customers, that's what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. So is it fair to say that you think that if you convince the council, then the schools will use it?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and $9 per user. So is that $9 per student or $9 per class?
It's per student, but again, that's like our current estimation. But the revenue model itself will be flexible once we have discussion with the councils and the schools and the funders. So it will be flexible within. It will be whether it will be like per user or per school is going to be like flexible once we implement it.
Okay, good job.
Thank you.
Great pitch, and that actually looks kind of fun. I'm curious if this is being viewed as a part of the curriculum, an enrichment tool outside of the classroom hours, or something that's purely extracurricular. And if it's part of the curriculum, how does it tie into certain, educational standards or, firm metrics that I think like maybe social studies or economics teachers would need to hit?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So this is definitely an extension because to be honest, we understand that there's not a lot of economic education happening in the classroom after like our observation. But still they have like standards. In Michigan, there's like a standard, and we so if you can look at the screen, this is like the contents that usually is discussed within the classroom within like grades 5 through 8. So we're still like going to tie the contents within like this curriculum standard. But again, it's definitely an extension of what's happening right now in the classroom.
Got it. And just to pile on to that, are you thinking about working or seeking endorsement from publishers? I think, that endorsement from the Economic Development Councils is certainly going to carry some weight. But, I'm also curious what other types of strategic partnerships or channel partners you're pursuing.
Yeah, so other than councils, we also currently working with one economic education researcher at the University of Michigan, and then we're working on like connecting between like contents and then the activities within the game.
Thank you.
I had two quick questions. One, it was $9 per student. Was that per month or was that an annual?
That's per month. That's based on our benchmark towards other K-12 learning technology products.
And thank you. My second question was, assuming that the councils are supportive, your business model is predicated on them helping to secure grants to underwrite the cost, or would schools be asked to pay for this?
So the foundation would fund so that school can get it for free.
Okay, thank you so much.
Have you looked at any of your competitors in the same market? Not necessarily for content related to economics, but to other vendors that are selling a subscription. Generally, I see it as an annual subscription per student as opposed to a monthly fee. Have you looked at where you are in the market share, and who your competitors currently are in the market?
Yes. So first we look into like this different learning technologies in financial literacy field, and a lot of them using the similar model that we are currently offering. So they work with councils and then they find like funders for so that it can provide it for free. And so far we know that they sell the product like within so for like per school instead of per user. But we don't have the information about like the exact numbers that they are offering. That's something that we are currently asking to the president of Michigan Council. And but then we also compared to like other K-12 learning technology program, which is they charge like per user. So I think and they also offer per month. That's how we got their data, and then we find the median of those values and find like $9 per learner per month. And I think that's like a good estimation for now, because if we use like per school, it's going to be very complicated because it's going to be different from school to school according to their size. Hope that answers the question.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Well done, great job answering the questions. Now we will turn it over to Jonathan with Spelling Safari.
All right, everything good to go there?
You've got your screen up there and I've got my timer ready, so take a breath and we're ready when you are, Jonathan.
All right. I'm Jonathan Marceau, an elementary teacher of almost 20 years. My idea is Spelling Safari, a curriculum reinvention and software solution. Traditional methods of spelling instruction where everyone in the class gets the same list of words isn't working. Below-level students perform poorly, frustrating students and parents. Above-level students are bored and they aren't being challenged. Teachers are overwhelmed with tedious work, leading to burnout. So why focus on spelling? It's important. Spelling is a foundational skill for English proficiency, with research links to gains in reading and writing skills. But traditional instructional methods miss learning opportunities for all students. Spelling instruction is also antiquated and needs reinvention. There has been little innovation in decades, and it lacks customization for individual needs. Spelling takes up time in and out of the classroom, and there are many opportunities to streamline. Spelling Safari uses the cycle, a proven method I've run in my own classroom. It starts with a diagnostic assessment, which pinpoints each student's starting ability level. Once the system knows where to begin, students are quizzed from words at that level. Only words spelled incorrectly are added to the student's list. From there, the student has opportunities to practice their words. To conclude each cycle, the system tests the students. Those tests are graded and reported to the teacher immediately. Words that were misspelled automatically become part of each student's list for the next cycle, ensuring mastery. Throughout the process, students are given immediate feedback, which is one of the most effective learning practices. The student portal provides children with their personalized word lists, as well as progress updates and fun gamification. The environment is easy to navigate, even for the youngest students. For teachers, our process eliminates teacher prep and automates quizzes, tests, and grading, allowing the whole cycle to be completed in as few as 4 clicks. Teachers can also adjust the number of words per cycle for individual students, meeting the needs of all learners. Our comprehensive reporting at the individual and class levels allow the teacher to target instruction for the entire class, small groups, or individuals. Our adaptive learning process maximizes learning by targeting student ability level and requiring mastery. Research shows mastery-based learning is linked with positive student attitudes and higher student achievement rates for all students. Data from this system in my classroom shows students at all levels more than tripled the number of words they were exposed to and more than doubled the number of new words learned. Our platform also takes a significant amount of work off the teacher's plate, saving more than 100 hours per year. With about 960,000 elementary classrooms nationwide at $100 per year, we have a total addressable market of $96 million. Hitting our market share goal of 15% would bring in $14.4 million annually. Our strategy will focus first on acquiring classroom teachers through word of mouth, SEO, social media, and educational influencer marketing. As our teacher customer base grows, we'll expand to schools, districts, and parents with customized features for each. We know that teachers will spend $100 to save 100 hours of their time while providing better learning outcomes for all students. Spelling Safari has many advantages over the existing classroom spelling websites. It will be the only spelling application to offer individualized learning that requires no teacher prep. Unlike competitors, the embedded mastery requires no extra effort from the teacher. Along with the competitive price point, it is clear Spelling Safari is the superior product. Our team is a great blend of expertise in all areas. I have served students in grades 3 through 6 and have extensive experience with curriculum development. John Berriman has been a serial entrepreneur for over 25 years and has founded, grown, and exited 5 technology companies. You've seen Alex Goldstein's amazing designs throughout the presentation. We've hired Fanzu Technology, a custom web app developer, to build the product. Together, this team is set up for great success. We've made great progress in the last 4 months. we'll be using the prize money to develop and launch the alpha version. User feedback gathered during the alpha phase will be utilized for the development and launch of the beta in the fall of 24. Our strong team of experts is addressing an area of need within the EdTech market. Our superior product that maximizes learning and saves teachers time is fully scoped and ready for development. We are seeking funding to build and launch the alpha version. Let's embark on a spelling safari together. Thank you.
Right. GREATJOB. Spelling is important. So JUDGES. Judges, take it away.
God, that's gutsy. Well done. I'm not sure I'd be able to do that. Jonathan, great presentation. I did have a couple of questions just tied to the kind of IP that's potentially behind the product. It sounds like the methods that you're using to select words and kind of reiterate concepts might be a little bit unique. And I'm wondering if you see this as a standalone solution kind of forever, or if you're exploring kind of integrating this within existing curriculum, education platforms. And as an add-on question, sorry for throwing a lot at you. Are teachers do they have bandwidth to take on another point solution, or is the kind of attitude trending towards, man, I have so many different apps to manage my students, and how does your product kind of fit into that?
So let me answer the second one first.
Sure.
I believe they do have the bandwidth to add this on because it's actually going to save them time. It's going to take things off their plate and make things easier for them. As I pointed out, they can get through the whole cycle in as few as 4 clicks. It's going to take off the reading, the grading, and all that. So that's going to be a tremendous benefit from them. It could be a standalone. Going back to your first question, it could be a standalone product going forward. It could be integrated. That's pretty far down the line, but there's definitely opportunities, to look into protecting that IP.
Thanks. I apologize for the question that's pulling you in different directions.
No worries. No worries.
Well done.
Thank you.
Hey, I got a couple of questions real quick.
Sure.
One is very good job. I thought did a great job presenting it.
Thank you.
And my question is, in college, I see students more and more, they're saying that, we don't need to do, when I look at their spelling and all that, they'd say, don't worry about spelling. We have all kinds of apps and everything that, it corrects itself. Spelling is not as important. I see that more and more. That's one point that I have. What do you think? What do you say to those people? The second thing is that you mentioned, if I'm not wrong, that the whole U.S. market, you're going to look for 15% of the U.S. market. Is that right?
At some, down the road, yes, correct.
Right, and these are the teachers, if I understand it correctly, that you will be going towards to market this. How do you get to those teachers? How do you approach the teachers? So these are the 2 questions I have for you.
Okay, so I'm sorry, could you repeat your first one again?
First one is how do you answer those questions?
Oh yeah,
that the spelling is not, I know it is important, but there are people who say that's not as important.
Yeah, so all of those tools are wonderful, but you still have to, as a human, have to have those skills and know, how to use them, and if those tools are actually giving you the right responses, right? There's spelling mentioned throughout Michigan standards all the way up through 12th grade. And so it's important. It relates to reading and writing, and you can use a tool like Grammarly or spell check, but you have to still understand that it's giving you the right information and that it's applying things. You're the end user of that, right? And then now I've blanked on your second question. It
was about the market. How do you get to the market?
So I plan on leveraging my own personal network of hundreds of educators, parents, and then we're going to be doing social media marketing. I plan to reach out and try to engage with an educational influencer that actually, so I have a specific one in mind that was a student in my district and went viral for a spelling test. And then, my partner, John Berriman, is very skilled at the e-marketing side of things.
Jonathan, you may have said this, so I apologize if I didn't catch it, but when you look at the teacher market that you're going after, what are the grade spans that you're looking at?
Mostly K through 5. There is a little bit of variation in school districts. For example, mine, the one where I work, our elementaries go up to 6th grade and we still do spelling. So there's a couple exceptions outside of the K-5, but it's primarily the K-5 network.
And would you anticipate districts would buy this on behalf of their teachers, or that they would pay for it themselves?
Absolutely. So we're starting off with teachers just to prove out the concept and demonstrate data that it's highly effective, and then expanding that to schools once we have that hard data from widespread use that, hey, this is effective and it's going to help your teachers out. They should be clamoring for a tool that's going to relieve their teachers from work and stress.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I've got time, but if I can interject, maybe just one point of advice rather than a question is, there's something here, but I've heard it a few times. Spelling sometimes gets overlooked when it comes to reading, writing, language learning, etc. I would encourage you, probably in addition to social media marketing and things like that, to explore a more scientific route. Actually get this embedded, demonstrate maybe an improvement in test scores, or things like that, like hard evidence. I think if you've got that dual piece, that's really going to help with your particular business model and go-to-market strategy.
Very good. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, judges.
Thank you much.
And that leaves us with just one final pitch. Spanish swag with Jesse. Gonna get your screen shared there, Jesse. We'll cue you up and you can rock and roll.
I'm like one of the master virtual teachers, yet I still have my 2 different monitors. Un momentito, I'm about to share my screen now. Present. There we go. Okay, and please give me a thumb up if you can see my screen.
Oh, here it comes. We can see your screen. We can hear your voice, and the show is yours.
Okay. Hola, 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 everybody. ¿Cómo están? Espero se encuentren bien. Hope all is well. Yo me llamo Jessie Feliz. My name is Jessie Feliz, and I am the creator of Spanish Swag. Spanish Swag is a culturally responsive, interactive language learning program where we seek to get you fluent your way. 20% of the US population identifies as being bilingual, and this is primarily a result of heritage and not from schooling. While 45% of current job postings in the US require both English and Spanish speaking skills. Yet over 6.5 million students study Spanish at the high school level in the United States. This statistic is a powerful indicator for not only the growing demand for a bilingual workforce, but also for the need to improve Spanish language learning outcomes across the US. So what is the problem that is yielding these results? We have high teacher shortages. To find and retain qualified and experienced language educators is a challenge. Low engagement. Conventional language learning programs often fail to captivate students' interests, which result in suboptimal learning outcomes. And technical learning approaches. Many language learning programs rely on a mechanic-like or rote memorization approach, which fails to humanize the language learning experience. So what's the solution? Spanish Swag. It requires no prep for the facilitator. Just plug and play and moderate the experience. All of our lessons are taught by real-life teachers who not only know how to teach, but how to get kids excited and motivated about learning. Our content is relevant, so it leverages today's trends with pop culture and social media, which connects users to the curriculum in a meaningful and impactful way. With Spanish Swag, elementary schools can now equip homeroom teachers and even substitute teachers so that they can provide students with a rich, vibrant language learning experience without any prior knowledge with the language. In analyzing the market, we know that there are approximately 24 million students enrolled in a public elementary school across the country. We seek the small to medium-sized school districts as our beachhead market. These smaller districts have access to federal funding, as do the larger districts. However, due to challenges with geographic location and retention and recruitment, they often struggle to find the talent to support a world language program for their schools. When comparing Spanish Swag with other language learning programs, we all offer gamification and different forms of edutainment. However, what truly sets Spanish Swag apart is that users actually interact with real live teachers. We prioritize what we like to call teacher time, where they interact with a certified experienced teacher that hooks them into the learning experience. And our program goes behind just passive learning. We have interactive speaking practice with not only your teacher, but with native Spanish speakers from across the Spanish-speaking world. This is what sets Spanish Swag apart and makes our program not just meaningful, impactful, but creates this intrinsic motivation for the user. At the start of the pandemic, like everybody else, as a parent or educator, I had a transition from in-person teaching to virtual. I was determined to master this art and skill of getting my kids motivated and excited to learn, even virtually, to the point where I started providing pre-recorded videos and worksheets to Berkeley Public Schools and the Michigan Shared Time Teacher Program. And literally, they could put substitute teachers in a room, press play on my video. This is what birthed Spanish Swag, because I decided I can create my own business and scale my business to serve more students. So last fall, I launched in the after-school learning space. I successfully partnered with Battle Creek Public Schools 21st Century Learning Program, as well as 2 community centers here in Detroit. And with today's victory with Michigan Virtual's Pitch Fest, this will mark another major milestone to propel my business forward. And I'm so thrilled to announce that this fall, we'll be piloting for daytime concept testing with South Redford Public Schools. Spanish Swag offers an annual subscription rate that's very affordable at just $11 per student. This caters to a range of school budgets while delivering an exceptional learning experience for all. While I'm primarily a team of 1, I'm so fortunate to work with native speakers and Spanish teachers from across the Spanish-speaking world. I also receive coaching and support from Melanie DeVries of the Michigan SBDC, Kim Gamez of Mi Padrino, TechTown, and Zorinda Management. Upon winning this Pitch Fest, funds will be used for hosting, ads, and content development. With Spanish Swag, we're not just teaching Spanish, we're igniting a passion for language, fostering cultural connections, and empowering students to become global citizens who can confidently communicate, connect, and thrive in an ever-expanding world. This is a win for educators, teachers, parents, the entire school community. If you're excited about bringing Spanish Swag to your local school, I would greatly appreciate an introduction to your school principal or administrator, and together we can make a difference in language education. Or visit SpanishSwag.com to learn more. Adios.
Adios and muchas gracias.
De
That
nada.
was wonderful, Jesse. Thank you. Judges, I'll turn it over to you.
Jesse, you were able to pilot this. Could you give us a little more intel about the pilot and its success, particularly in Battle Creek?
Yes, so during the pandemic, I was a live virtual teacher for their after-school program. And then this past fall with Battle Creek Public Schools with their 21st Century funds, I was able to offer the on-demand learning program. Sometimes that looked like students able to log into the app because they'll have the kids after school. And normally with the after-school workers, these are not certified teachers. So they distribute the laptops to students log in. As long as they have a headset with a microfono, they're interacting with me and other teachers and other Spanish speakers. They are in the aggregate of a classroom with other kids, but they're having this personable learning experience. It's an amazing thing when I'm able to make observations, and during the video when it's prompting, sprinkle that swag, okay, chiquitos, repitan, you see like 1 second here, a few seconds later, all these kids are interacting with a teacher like you would in a live classroom, because you have that real teacher humanized experience.
Did you have any post-test data?
We do have some recent data that's really awesome. Some of our students, one student specifically, I'm so proud of, from Kalamazoo, who was used our program as a parent consumer, purchased it for her. She scored a 95% on the National Spanish Challenge with the AATSAP, the American Association of Teachers of Spanish and Portuguese. And so we have internal data that we use to analyze and use as metrics, what's working, how I need to modify some of the quizzes, increase more speaking. We also get a lot of qualitative data from our native speakers who interact with the students to help them with the pronunciation. But it's an amazing thing we can offer to these districts outside of our own Spanish Swag program. You can then measure the success of this program by using this outside tool with the AATSAP.
So $11 is affordable in terms
Yes.
of a per student annual subscription. Have you suggested that school districts access Title IV funds?
So far, we've been focusing on, well, first of all, I have, as of now, all of what we've earned at this point has been from after school. This fall, we'll be piloting with South Redford Public School. So actually, we actually charged more in the after school setting because it was based off 21st century funding and what was allocated, which I believe is title, I don't want to say the wrong one, is not 1-2, I believe it might be Title IV funding for 24th century schools. So they have funding, access to ESSER funding that they can still use while it's still available. And then also they can use that additional funding source, because the main thing is I witnessed this with the shared time teacher program in Michigan, and specifically working with Battle Creek Public Schools. Over 40 different schools had substitutes. Some of them spoke Spanish, some of them did not. They would press play on my videos and they would distribute my worksheets. So then I said to myself, well, wait a minute, instead of it doing that method and only limiting myself to working with those shared time schools, let me create my own program and then provide this LMS system that can be used in any part of the state and the US.
Thank you.
See, when a school is interacting with your service, is it all synchronous or asynchronous in terms of the delivery?
It's asynchronous. When I refer to live, it's live pre-recorded. And then with the interaction with the native speakers, when students have a speaking prompt, such as "de donde eres?" and then they see the video of a native speaker asking that question, they respond. But the software that we use, it seems as if it's like this live interaction, but the native speaker can then respond, "Oh, soy de Costa Rica," and then it goes back to the student portal. So they're having this almost like a video chat conversation. And every time we say live, what makes it different is it's not like a caricature that comes up. They get to actually see a human that's speaking to them. And then during teacher time, I, along with other Spanish certified educators, we do this live format for them, pre-recorded live format.
So are there opportunities for the students to practice their new language skills and for someone to evaluate or critique that when they're doing that?
Yes, a part of every single course, there is, apart from teacher time, they have games, they have listening practice, speaking practice where they submit their speaking, such as "¿Cómo te llamas?" What's your name? They have to respond, "Yo me llamo Billy," or whatever the person's name is. They get qualitative feedback as well as quantitative feedback. There's writing practice, there's quizzes, and there's still a formal assessment. I've taken my 15 years of teaching primarily in person as well as virtually with the pandemic and said, let me put this all in a format that still has the same standards, that still aligns not just the state, but I use the national can-do statements with ACFL so that it's the same expectations and rigor. But now it's, when I say culturally responsive, I'm making it relevant and the kids are engaged in the learning process because it's like you have a real life teacher that knows how kids learn. That's the key factor, that knows how kids learn.
Thank you.
All right.
Oh.
Thank you, Jesse. And that takes us to our time. It's our 5 minutes for questions, and to keep things even, we'll bring it to a conclusion there. Jesse, thank you so much. And now it's time for our judges to get judgy. I am going to set up a couple of breakout rooms here for the judges to go into. The rest of us can kind of hang out here and chat a little bit and talk more amongst ourselves about what's going on. But 1 second here while I set up the breakout rooms. The judges will have about 10 minutes to go through and deliberate and determine the final outcomes. And from there, we'll invite them back in and get the results in just about 10 or 15 minutes. All right, so all right, and And judges, you will go into the breakout room. Ken and Jamie, you've got me on Microsoft Teams. If there's any questions or anything, let me know. And we'll see the results in about 10 minutes. Everybody else hang tight in here.
You should have made a playlist, Scott.
Right? I still have that catchy music from the intro. But
Your royalty-free music.
yes, yes. So teams, how do you feel? I see lots of smiles. I love seeing that.
Relief.
Relief, yeah, a little weight off the shoulders before our holiday weekend coming up here.
Yep.
Yeah, anybody
Well,
else?
it was like a proud mama moment watching you guys. You guys did so good. I was like, oh, I remember their first pitch. I thought you guys did so good. Good job.
Thank you to you all for coaching us along and building us up. It's been wonderful.
1000% yes.
Yep, similar to what Kim shared, this is one of my, it's only happened twice, but one of my favorite days of the year, just to see the pitches come together and just the remarkable changes that were made in even under 24 hours for the couple of years that I saw midday or later yesterday, and just knowing everything that you've put into it over the past couple of weeks is pretty incredible. I hope you've all learned a ton. And you've got a great foundation regardless of the outcome of the pitch here. Yeah, you learn or Kinomi, how's the pitch prep that you went through this stack up to or compare to some what you have at Michigan State or University of Michigan?
I think it went much better.
We won't tell Paul Jakes you said that, David. Good.
Yeah, Paul was kind enough to help us with a pitch just a few days ago.
Yeah, Paul was one of our judges last year, but didn't get invited back this year because of you guys. So, so I think he went on vacation instead.
Scott, can you remind everyone about the boot camp? And is that open to any company that wants to join that's in the ed tech space?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually have a slide for that.
Look at me make that intro for you.
Right?
That.
Almost like it was planned.
Yeah. So for everybody who is tuned in as we wait for our results, we do have the EdTech Innovation Bootcamp coming up in a couple of weeks, June 17th through 20th, 8 a.m. through 12 p.m. daily, live from anywhere via Zoom. So 8 a.m. is a little early in the summer, but set your alarm for 7:59, roll over, click join Zoom, and you're in. It's open to everybody who pitched today, everybody who submitted, and anybody across Michigan who has an idea to use education or to use EdTech in an innovative way to improve teaching and learning. So share that with colleagues, friends, and family. No cost to attend. There's 20 sketches available to you educators who are collecting sketches for certificate renewal. And the signups at the michiganvirtual.org/pitch page. We've got an awesome lineup. It's being run fairly similar to last year's, a few different speakers. We'll start every day with some applied exercise, practicing your pitch, getting some feedback on your pitch. This will be more like a 60-second short elevator pitch. Just telling your story. Yeah, you thought 5 minutes was tough. We'll get it down so that you get in an elevator and you're only going 3 floors in one of our low-rise buildings here in Michigan, you'll be able to tell everybody exactly what you're doing it, why you're doing it, and why they should be in love with the idea. But then we'll have a panel of educators and other people who have started EdTech companies. You'll get to ask them some great questions. We'll have a panel of entrepreneurial and innovative support personnel from a couple different groups around the state to introduce you to other resources that are available. Some of you are probably asking, well, what do we do now? What do we do if we get $10,000 or $1,000. What's next? You're not going to be off on an island by yourself. We'll have introductions to other resources to provide supports. And then lots of great content from Melanie and Kim and Marquisia and all of our different groups on business models and customer discovery and product market fit and product development and all sorts of great stuff. So everybody who's tuned in on YouTube, we hope you'll join us for that free event. Lots of great content. It's really being designed to help you take your idea and turn it into a reality in terms of using technology to improve teaching and learning. So hopefully everybody in here will be planning on attending that.
Scott, I have a question.
Absolutely.
Have you all had this is the second year of doing the Pitch Fest or the third year?
Second year.
Last year, or have you had anyone even that applied have an EdTech product or idea that is for teachers as far as like professional development? Have you had anyone I know we think of like the user primarily being the student, but have you had anyone from last year, whether it was just an applicant or a participant, that had an idea for supporting teachers at the professional development level?
I'm sure we've had ideas submitted.
There wasn't any that like were in the final though, right, Scott?
No, there's one of the not top 3 finalists last year had a like active grade tracking app, which would kind of be similar to similar to Bipsy, so used by educators to track activity and record grades in active learning environments. Not necessarily used by students, but not as a professional learning tool. Trying to think of some of the other submissions and some people in the boot camp last year. Yeah, hopefully we'll see. Hopefully we'll have a few this year. Jesse, do you have a second business idea that's percolating? That's not uncommon for anybody with an innovative mindset. Ideas are always popping up. I know Kim has one. I have 3 or 4. So I tell people when they say, "Oh, I don't want to share my idea. I'm afraid somebody's going to take it." I tell them, I have too many of my own ideas that I don't have enough time to pursue. So share your idea, talk about it, refine it. That's the only way it's ever going to become a reality.
Just curious, how are the pitches from last year doing? Do they have a sustainable business now? How are they doing right now?
Yeah, the grand prize winner literally went to space. Not his pitch, but his product was a Cube satellite, which is a little satellite that can be made in classrooms. He'd sell the kit and get it put together, and it went up, I forget how high up, on a weather balloon, and then they launched it on a private rocket that launched from Maine sometime in the, I believe it was in the spring. So they've been able to get it up fully tested, and from the business side, I'm not sure how it's doing. I know our second place winner touched base. He's a graduate student at University of Michigan. So he's kind of immersed in schooling, but continuing to work on Everstory on the side. Everstory was the name of his product. And this summer, he's engaging more with actual content developers to build further and faster. And then the selective team, the third place team, they put out a non-technical prototype, so more of like a card game version of their app on Teachers Pay Teachers to get some feedback and to have people use the concept in the classroom. And they've built a prototype or an MVP electronically, and I think it's out there. I'll have to track that down. I know they've signed up to be part of the boot camp, so at least Angie, I believe, will be in the boot camp, so we can touch base with them there as well. But yeah, so all 3 are continuing on, which is exciting.
That's nice to hear.
Yep. Yeah, and that's our goal. We know all of you are pretty much at the idea stage. Some of you have prototypes and some early users and feedback, but we need to support the ideas if we ever want to see the products and the services evolve from that. So that's what we're excited to be providing here. Let's see here. Oh, Melanie has texted and said she was watching on YouTube and had to just drop off, but congratulations to everybody. She said you all did a great job. Check in with our judges here. What were some of the interesting things that you all learned from each other today? I think last year, Kim, we had the teams practice at least once together. It felt like everybody kind of knew what everybody was doing last year before the final pitches.
Yeah, because they did it. Yeah, we did have at least one time.
Yeah. So what were some of your reactions or any questions that any of you have, especially from the educators to each other for the student teams?
I was just overall impressed with everybody's ideas and the development and the progress that folks have made. They're all really interesting ideas, and hopefully we're all successful going forward.
Yeah, I love the variety as well as the variety of how it's applicable to different ages. Jonathan, it resonates on the spelling. And I can see like the data of, again, while there are apps such as Grammarly out there, that automatically amends your spelling errors, part of foundational reading skills, you have to, especially in English, right? You have to understand phonetics and the written, because English is not a phonetic-based language like Latin-based languages. The way that we write words is not necessarily como se pronuncia, how we pronounce them. And so it's so important for our young learners to develop those strong spelling skills because it impacts their reading skills, impacting comprehension and test scores and everything else. So right. Yeah, that's just making, when the pandemic hit, my daughter was in kindergarten, and that following school year, I actually homeschooled her for a year in the afternoons while I was teaching in the AM virtually. And then I still re-enrolled her in first grade. And we focused so much on spelling because, and now she's such a strong reader.
Awesome.
And people say, why? And it's not from an app, it's from like some old school principles, but the concept of spelling was a big focus.
Right. Right.
So along with everybody else, I love that.
I've got to say, Jonathan had my favorite slide with it's important, it's spelling. And that I didn't catch that the very first time that he went through, or I saw his deck. Okay. And somebody else mentioned it, and I'm like, oh, I missed it. And then the next time I saw it, I couldn't help but crack up a little bit. So,
and that comes from I always try to inject humor in my classroom, because if the students are laughing with me or at me, then they're going to be learning more, right? And they're going to love coming to school. And so I wanted to inject that into my presentation.
I was a little late on that. I actually made a note that day. I was like, check spelling on slide. And I was like, oh, duh. Like, Kim, your blonde is showing. Like, what is going on here?
I actually had to do a screenshot so it kept the little red wavy lines underneath it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. When it goes to presentation mode, that goes away, doesn't it?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, Jonathan, I teach fourth grade, and there are so many kids that, are a couple of years behind in reading. And the word work patterns is the thing that I really focused on for studying for them. And what you're saying is kind of what I do in the classroom too. It's kind of leveled, spelling words, what we call them word work, based on where they are as a reader. And it made me think about the fact that fluency and accuracy is so important in reading, and that connection that Jesse was saying about knowing those words. I wonder about how we could, you can build that spelling part into that word work, phonics, phonetics, fluency, accuracy, and having them practice those things too. And like we have them work on using different learning to, whether it's using touch, tactile for word work and recognizing, or visual or whatever. But your idea is spot on for that. Like, it's so important that kids understand words and how they are, where they come from and what the root words are, and all of those things to be better readers too.
Yeah,
So
it's complicated, right? There's many layers to it all. And so
yeah,
hopefully I can start with spelling and then build out to all those other really important aspects.
yeah, exactly.
English is tricky.
Yeah.
And I love the economy as well. Sorry. I don't know if our judges are back yet. I love the economy as well, Sharon, Jessica, because I like how you said it's not just financial literacy, but now it's putting it into this real world practice of like, what are different economic factors that, and you get to role play versus just, oh, how to balance a checkbook. But now because then that's giving kids opportunities to experience different factors from like this financial or economic lens that they may not see in their regular life, and so I think that's really important for kids and adults, but it is better to start when they're younger.
Thank you,
I
Jessica.
think we should have a game night with all the games. We should have like a game afternoon or something at the end of the pitch or at the end of the boot camp where we get to play them all the games. You guys are awesome.
All right, and I am going to close out the judges room there and try to bring them back. Welcome back, judges. Thank you for the incredibly difficult task that I'm sure you had over the last 10 or 11 minutes there. I am not enviable. I would not want to be deciding between the 5 great presentations that we saw. So before we announce the finalists or the winners, judges, what were your thoughts? What were some of your takeaways? What were some of the highlights that you had? We can just go through each of you for a minute or two.
I'll take first. I thought all of them did a great job, and it was not easy. The 5 minutes was not enough to come up with the number 1, 2, 3. And we were not all said, this is number 1, 2, and 3. So if you have not gotten it, that does not mean you're not one of the top in somebody's list. So all of you have done a great job. And it was difficult for all of us to come up with that list. And that's I have to say, keep at it and go as far as you can. And I'm sure you will reach that success.
No, that's well said. And to echo, what Sanjeev is saying, startups are hard, and tackling problems in education are hard. And without people like you continuing to push the envelope and interject new ways of thinking, new ways of approaching problems, the problem's only going to get worse. And the magnitude of the gap, between the different students in the U.S., but also globally, will continue to grow. And so I commend all of you for even focusing on this space and paying attention to these needs. It's fantastic. And also all the companies did so well. And it was a really, really great discussion in the back room, or whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
All remarkable presentations and concepts. I have some experience in this space as an investor, small investor in several startups, and I loved all of your presentations and really hope you find success. I would encourage you to reach out to an angel investment group if you're looking for investors to help you scale, and I can probably help you with that. But love that you're working in the education space. The United States is in a very competitive place. I travel around the world and see where we stand with some of the other industrialized nations, and so I love that you're doing this work to help bring us up to speed in a timely fashion.
Scott, it was tough last year, but man, this year, holy moly. I was just blown away by the amount of work and effort that everybody's put forth on their business ideas. So congratulations to all of you. Scott's going to announce the ranking, but I think all of the judges have said this. We are all really, really impressed with the work that you've done and wish you nothing but luck. So don't let where you fall on the ranking be a determining factor on where you go with your business idea, because they were all incredibly worthy business ideas to pursue.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better. You all have wonderful things ahead of you with the 5 ventures that we heard about today. And as Jamie said, the judging tough last year, even harder this year. And that went down to the 18 submissions that we had that you were part of even to get here. So just being here alone was incredibly difficult. The judges that we had reviewing and providing feedback had tons of questions and were really torn in terms of some of the decisions to be made just to identify the 5 finalists. So congratulations are owed to all of you. And again, we'll recognize our partners and our sponsors here on the screen, and we'll jump right to it. So with the 4th and 5th place runner-up or honorable mention prizes, each getting $1,000. We have, drum roll. Oh, I should have queued up a drum roll next year. Akinomi and Bipsy. So congratulations, Lori, Sharon. Looks like we've lost one from the Akinomi team in the chat here. Hopefully she's not in the waiting room trying to get in. But congratulations, wonderful ideas, wonderful products. I can't wait to play Akinomi or have my kid play Akinomi within the next year or two. And Bipsy is going to have a huge impact as well. So congratulations there. 3rd place is receiving $4,000 and also probably just as valuably or more valuably, a legal package from Foster Swift and a logo package from Michigan Creative to help get you set up and on your way. 3rd place team is ULearn, the Michigan State student team. So congratulations to David and Advit. Great job. I don't know why this music is on each of these slides here, but ULearn, wonderful job. 2nd place, Spanish Swag. Great job, Jesse. And that brings us to 1st place, Spelling Safari. I resisted the temptation to misspell Spelling Safari on the slide, but they're pretty easy words to spell. Jonathan,
You should have.
great job. $10,000 to help you out on your startup venture here. The legal support from Foster Swift. Michigan Creative will have some wonderful marketing support for you, branding and logo packages. And then kind of a surprise here, you'll also be invited to pitch again at the New Enterprise Forum Pitch competition coming up in Ann Arbor. They have one coming up later in July and then another opportunity in October. So we'll get you connected to them and you'll have a chance to pitch out there to a bunch of potential investors as well. So congratulations, Jonathan. Congratulations, Jesse, David, Advit, Sharon. You did a wonderful job. Thank you so much to our judges. Thank you, Marquisia, Kim, Melanie, for helping coach these teams with me and all that you put into it. It wouldn't have been possible without all of your help and support. Thank you to all of our sponsors. Make some of the prize money possible. And this was great. All of you, I look forward to seeing you at the boot camp. Jonathan, just really quick, what are you thinking, and how are you going to celebrate this evening?
I'm just very grateful for the partners and the sponsors in this, for Michigan Virtual heading this up. I got to shout out my parents, my family, my friends, fellow teachers, Matt Morin, who has been a business advisor for me since like late 21, and Jivan Nataraja, who put me in touch with my partner. And so I'm just elated, and I'm packing to go up north. So that's how I'm celebrating.
Awesome.
And congrats to everybody. You folks did an outstanding job, and it was incredibly tough competition out there. I was very impressed.
Yep. I'm looking forward to a 4th of July week, but I'm also looking forward to the boot camp coming up on the 17th. We'll see all of you there. You've got a lot more to learn and a lot more that we can help set the foundation for your ventures going forward. And we're going to see all of these products in schools in the not too distant future, and you're going to have great impact. So keep doing what you're doing. Judges, thank you again. And thank you everybody who tuned in on YouTube. And that concludes the 2023 Michigan Virtual EdTech Pitch Competition.
Hey, Scott,
everybody.
Scott, I just need to say thank you to you for leading all this and being the organizer. So thank you. It was great to see all this come together. It's a wonderful thing to try to help spur on some of this innovation. So thank you for your leadership.
It's a fun thing to do. I enjoy it. And yeah, I appreciate the accolade. So thank you. And we'll see everybody well before next year. We'll see you at the boot camp. Have a great evening, everyone.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you for inviting me.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, congrats, everybody. Great work. Thank you.